This is by far the hardest review I think we've ever had to do for me.
Why, Aiden Green?
This whole two-partness sent me.
Two-partness?
Well, I just feel like I don't have the answers for what you guys want from me.
Right.
Like I don't. Like I'm
What, who's asking the questions?
just
and what?
all the listeners. Billie Eilish.
Oh, no. Don't ask me about her.
Legend of Ruby Sunday has just dropped. We walked down. We have not discussed any of it.
No. Not a single word.
Not a bloody drop of sand, mate. Let me tell
No.
you.
Drop of sand. Grain of sand.
So we're gonna get into talking about Legend of Ruby Sunday. This will be our review. It's a hot take. It's an instant reaction.
Yeah. Don't
which
hate us.
is why this is so hard, because obviously there's a lot of big reveals in the episode that we'll go through and walk through and review. But that does make it really hard because this episode is a big shock factor episode. So I'm interested how this one will show up on repeated viewings. Do you have anything to pretext before we go and do the review and all that?
No, I don't think so.
No? All right. We're the 50% Doctor Who podcast. Make sure you subscribe if you absolutely haven't already. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor. And fuck it, let's get into the review.
50 podcast.
That's synopsis for me, baby.
The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Let me tell you, she was not having a fun day.
No.
As she was in the Church of Ruby
No,
Road.
she was not.
The Doctor and Unit investigate Ruby's past, but as the time window reveals horrifying secrets from Christmas Eve, the mysterious Triad technology unleashed the greatest evil of all. You know, I think that's pretty much the episode summed up.
There's a life summed up.
That's the episode summed up.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say this off the bat. I think this episode will not stand up for very long. And I also think that there's going to be a lot of people that fucking love this on Twitter. Mm-hmm. There's going to be people that can be like, oh my God, Sute. Oh my God, like Susan. Like all this crazy shit. And people are going to love this episode.
It was the wrong anagram.
Yeah, which is like, I like how everyone was like, oh, there's two anagrams in there. And they both turned out to be right.
Yeah.
But I think this episode, I think, is pretty hollow.
I'll say this. I think that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm really enjoying this right now as like a first viewing, but I kept thinking to myself, like, what rewatchability does this have in a sense? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it really is like the part one-iest part one of all part ones.
It is.
Like, it really does leave a lot of I don't know. I thought we'd get more answers, I suppose. And also, like, I think I was really enjoying it until the end, and it's like, first of all, I'm not surprised it's Sutekh.
Yeah.
And also, like, I was thinking to myself, oh, I wish I didn't know. But also, if I didn't know, I don't know who the fuck Sutekh is. I have no idea. And I kind of hate this idea that it's like, now watch the Tales of the TARDIS. Do you really think regular audiences are going to do that?
I assume they'll go into it a lot more in part two, but...
Bygones be bygones. I shouldn't have to do homework
bygones.
to watch an episode.
No,
okay?
and I don't think you'll have to.
Folks.
I think it'll all be in part two, because it'll be dumb if not. But I do think, okay, off the bat, immediate thoughts was I felt like immediate thoughts at the opening when I was watching the episode was I thought like, oh, I'm so sorry to all these Disney Plus watchers that are watching Doctor Who for the first time, because I thought the way they jumped into like Unit, all that stuff, and I know it was sort of introduced in 73 Yards, but I thought it was so fucking quick. And then you have a million characters. You've got heaps of people, like no one's going to know who Rose is, who was in this episode for some reason, had nothing to do.
Yeah, that was interesting.
If she'd had more scenes with Ruby, it would have been great because they looked like they had good chemistry there. But like this episode had some really good sequences in it. Like the sequence where the Sutekh monster thing starts wrapping around the TARDIS. Like, that was cool. The opening sequence I thought was sick. I love that we were straight in. I think that perhaps Rogue should have ended with a conversation where they go, all right, Ruby, like something should have happened in Rogue at the end that made them go, we need to go to Unit now.
What was the motivation for going to Unit?
Well, that's the thing. It just feels like one day they were just in the TARDIS and the Doctor went, oh, Ruby, we should probably find out. I've got some guys that can help.
It's true because like he literally mentions the painting from last week. So I assume Ruby told the Doctor, I saw this painting that was the woman we kept seeing again.
It's odd.
It's an interesting... I wasn't expecting it to open that way. I suppose, like, as a fan, I really enjoyed that. scene in the sense that like I feel like it's nice to see all these characters again. I think it was fun.
Yeah.
But again, I totally get your point, and I think going back to what I said is like I just think it's just the rewatchability of it is just quite hollow, and I can understand. I've been saying this from day dot, like it's like it's such a hard show to try to introduce new audiences because you have to please the fans who have been around for as long as us and some longer, but also try to introduce new people and them not be confused.
I think another thing just generally with this episode is the whole thing is just build up to that ending. Like, I don't feel like there was a story in this episode. Do you know what I mean? Like it was, let's find out who Ruby is. And I think so much of what they did in this episode should have been maybe done here and there throughout the season, because the flow of this season, I think, hasn't been very good. Like, I wasn't really ever feeling, I think post 73 yards, I was never really excited for the new episodes. The flow was just sort of wrong. And I was so unexcited going to this episode because like Rogue left me with like a good episode, but nothing thinking I wanted answers or anything like that. Whereas if it had given us like a little baby cliffhanger just to get us ready for the finale, I think that would have been great. Like this episode is just so many twists and turns. But even then, like, I don't think it is. Like, it throws a couple big twists at you, but I think it spends like 30 minutes just talking about the twists, and like, there's no narrative, there's no villain, okay, which I know is a big fucking call because Sutek's back, but for 43 minutes of the episode, there's no villain, and then like there is, and I'm worried about next week because we've got 55 minutes next week to completely set up a villain, completely set up what he's doing. There was a shot of just some clouds at one point, and I was like, fucking great. Like, is that a threat? There was no threat for me.
Yeah. I think it was. I think it was a bit too confident in itself. I think it thought it knew what it was doing and didn't really like it. I think this episode will be lost on like general viewers. Like Susan, they're like, who the hell's that?
Yeah.
They won't know who that is. And I know they did the scene with Kate and it was nice. I feel like we come here every week and be like, there were a few good scenes that, were really good and memorable. I think I particularly really enjoyed the amount of time that Mel and the Doctor got together. I thought that was really good. And I think they worked together.
They do pretty well,
really well. But again, it's a lot of characters running in. It's a lot going on at once. A lot's happening, but nothing is really happening.
That's 100%. That's how I feel about this episode.
I don't know how to... I feel like I was enjoying it. And then the ending happened and I was kind of just like... I don't know. Like, I don't know how this whole, like... It was a couple of... I think it was early days into series 1 when you said the whole rumor about Sutek. So I've had all this time now to marinate that idea. And I guess now that it's here, I hate to say it, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. I don't really feel the intensity that I feel like I should. Am I nuts? Is everyone going to think that we're crazy? Is this another Don Bubble situation?
Oh, we're going to get fucking roasted, but I don't really give a shit. We've been through that once. I can deal with it again.
I don't know.
I think... Yeah, I can understand people liking this because of the shock factor and stuff, but
was there a shock factor? What was the shock factor?
Well, not really. It just confirms.
What's the shock factor? Everyone knew it was fucking Sutek. They've been saying it for weeks.
Yeah.
What's the shock factor? I wasn't shocked once.
No.
I don't know what planet Russell's on.
I was only shocked by
planet is he on?
I was only shocked by the Susan thing at the start, and so I really hope
the pre-title
sequence.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't think they were going to go there, as much as they had sort of set things up with that Devil's Cord, and I had spoken in the episode about that's got to come back. I actually really didn't think they were going to, which by the sounds of it they might not.
I don't think they even are. Yeah, it's how stupid to think that I was.
I really hope
granddaughter.
I really hope they do. I hope it ends, and this would be what I would love, and would make this episode stand up a little bit more. Which again, it's hard being a part one. Would be if this whole two-parter is like a character piece for the Doctor
to inspire him to go and
see Susan. Yeah. And the final scene is him going to see Susan. Susan fucking dies, regenerates into the companion for next year. That's where my head's at the moment.
Oh dear me.
Kate Stewart.
Yes.
By far her best episode of Doctor Who.
I love Kate.
I thought she was incredible.
Yeah, Kate. I'm surrounded by these characters that I know and love, and I even love Little Morris.
Yeah,
lovely,
what a guy.
Lovely. I thought he was a great character to add on. Sort of again, just there, but not as much as just there as like say Rose or something.
Yeah, Morris had way more to do than Rose.
I guess he's like now the new Osgood of this unit's scientific officer.
Well, where's the fuck Shirley?
I think
Shirley died. Find out in the Tales of the Tide.
She returned back to her home planet. I think the actress was doing something else. I think she just couldn't come back. I think she had like clashing dates. I think I don't know if that's been confirmed, but I would assume that's what it is.
Interesting.
They're like, should we call Ingrid Oliver? No, let's call.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with that whole Zygon
Morris.
situation.
Yeah,
Zygella.
Yeah, I mean, I think I generally do think. I think when it started, I was at my most enjoying it, and it sort of like went down as the episode went on.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's like, are we really going down this path?
Can I make a big call?
Please go ahead.
I got bored. The time window sequence bored the fuck out of me.
Really?
And until the Sutekh stuff started to happen. No, because it looks shit, for one.
It's a VHS.
Yeah, but it just looked gross.
Isn't that a great way to just cover up shitty effects?
Well, people are going to come at me and be like, oh, you stop fucking criticizing VFX. I can fucking do that, mate. I can do that all the fuck I want.
I'm not affiliated with him.
Well, I can.
No, you can't.
It looks shit. But
it's a VHS.
Yeah, and I just thought it looked... I thought it was boring. Like, I thought it was a boring-ass sequence that spent so long... It spent so long just telling us stuff that we already knew. Didn't like so much of this episode was just like we already know this, and I don't mean that in like the Sutekh way, not in the fan theory way, but it just spent like 10 minutes like going Ruby's mum, Ruby's mum, Ruby's mum, Ruby's mum, Ruby's mum, Ruby's mum, and I'm like I don't know, I don't care anymore.
It's like you're about to find out. No, you're not.
It's just a lot of build up that and just no story for me.
It's a part one, man.
It is, but there was a couple of good character moments in there, but like not really enough. Like there was a good moment with the Doctor sat down with a beautiful shot, like reflecting against the wall, where Mel went up and was like, gave him a bit of a car. Also, get off your ass and solve this shit kind of moment. I like that.
When he smacked the elevator, I like that.
Yeah, that was cool. But they were just so few and far between. Everything else was just like dolly shots pushing in on the TARDIS, and then another dolly shot pushing in on the TARDIS, and another dolly shot pushing in on the TARDIS, and then Mario going.
I just feel like it's just again, I think it's just too confident in itself. These storylines that have only been set up for literally less than a year, that
I think too long.
Yeah,
I think the storylines are too long. That I don't give a fuck anymore.
Sure, and people have started to forget even stuff like the TARDIS groaning. Like even I kind of forgot about that. And it's just kind of like the TARDIS was groaning because Sutekh's cloud was around it.
I guess Sutekh's got a cloud.
And also, what was like? I guarantee you, people's rebut to all this is going to be like, we'll find out next week.
Yeah,
okay, fine, but whatever.
But that's what we're here for now, to talk about part one. So
shut up. So what was the Triad technology? What was it doing?
I don't know.
What was it?
I have no idea.
At first, I thought they were going for maybe like a bit of like an Elon Musk thing, where like he's a very controversial public figure with controversial technology. I thought maybe they were going for something like that. But it sort of got lost on me. I don't know. It was like, I'm going to be in your homes 24/7, 365 days of the year. And I was like, but what is it? Is it Wi-Fi? Is it super quick Wi-Fi?
I don't know. Maybe, I that's the thing. Like,
is it Google Home?
The battle we had with Google Home.
Triad, turn on the theater room lights.
I was trying to get the bloody TV going, and it was a fucking battle with this bloody Google Home shit. But that's a story for another time.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The Trickster got mentioned.
Did they?
Yep.
Good for them.
The Trickster is the god of tricks, they said. Again, we were saying this is one thing we did say to each other. It's a lie. We did talk to each other a little bit. You said, I couldn't really understand what was being said at the end. And I thought it was just me because I watch everything with subtitles. I respect the fact that you don't, so we don't put it on when we're watching it.
The last couple of minutes,
I couldn't hear, and I thought it was just me because I do rely on subtitles a little bit. Maybe it's my weird hearing. But I couldn't.
No, I couldn't.
Sutek was talking, and he could have said that I'm the Doctor's dad, and I wouldn't have fucking known.
I'm Sutek, but I'm also Susan.
I am Susan. And
maybe that's why everyone loves it.
And we're sat here like, who? Where the fuck's Susan? I don't know. I didn't hear it. And is it the original guy? We don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be in.
It sounded like.
I'm not sure. I want to see the old design. I like the old design.
The old design of Sutek?
Now he's a fucking doggy.
I hated that. I thought it looked terrible.
It's fine.
I hated it.
Look better than the fucking VHS.
This is what I would do if I ran a show like that. To me, it's like smaller scale's better. A practical costume would look so much better than some big Egyptian dog.
I think I just got so bored of running around Unit HQ and then that bloody stage center place. We don't know anything about fucking Sutek. Susan Technology. What's the name? Susan Triad.
Triad Technology.
Like, I would have loved to have spent more time with her in the lead up to this, and really make you like question her a bit more. Because there was like one scene with Mel talking to her, which was alright, but there was just not enough character.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Not enough story.
Yeah, I don't know who Susan Triad as a character is.
No.
I don't get it.
Am
I dumb?
Like I said, the Kate stuff was
audience,
cool.
Yes.
Yes, you were dumb.
You didn't get it. Sorry.
Please tell me where you got your sources of Billie Eilish's parentage
My
from.
own headcanon, okay? What the fuck is going on?
It's
Aiden
and Connor's podcast. That's the show, folks. No, all right, let's walk through the episode a bit.
Yeah, please.
Because there is some genuinely cool sequences in here. So we go back, we travel. I don't know. There's more scenes going. Susan's my daughter. Shit like that.
Susan's my granddaughter. Yeah.
Susan's my granddaughter. Sorry. Yeah. And then they sort of set up Susan Triad. We get some scenes of Mel with Susan Triad. Susan Triad's like, "Can you give us the applause?" No, she doesn't want the applause effects.
Yeah.
And then the doctor's like, "Do we have a time window?" And Kate's like, "No.
You forbid this in the 80s.
We do have a time window."
Is there a line about
10
that,
floors
Aiden,
down.
or are you?
I don't know. I don't care.
Don't care.
And there is a time window, which I thought was an extremely convenient bit of technology for them to have. I just did not believe it.
Here's what I was thinking. A time window, sure, but like it's still like time was still being affected. I think the whole reason why they couldn't go to that specific point in history was because it was like time locked or something. Not time locked, but it was like they couldn't mess with history. I feel like they still mess with history with the VHS time fucking window thing.
I don't know.
Also, it bugged me how like the doctor's like, this day is the most craziest thing I've ever seen in time. I'm like, are you insane? Are you nuts? Are you serious? According to Doctor Who lore, he's a gazillion years old.
Yeah.
You're telling me this is the craziest thing you've ever seen in time? I don't think so. That doesn't butter my parsnip. Okay?
Your snip's not passed.
Yeah.
Why
am I being so negative?
Well, I think that
I hate how unhyped I was for it as well. I fucking said, didn't I? When I sat down, I was like, I don't want to be disappointed. And I went in with such low expectations. I can't express that enough.
I think it's far from shit. Like, this isn't a dot and bubble situation. Like, I enjoyed most of my time watching it. I got bored here and there when it felt like we were
You shouldn't be getting bored in a fucking series final.
I think it lost its momentum as well. Like, it started so strong with its flow, and then like we got into some cool character scenes early on, and then I felt like we just got so stuck. We got so stuck forever going like, what is Ruby's story? What is Ruby's story? We got to get this VHS. We got to do, and it's just like boring. Like,
yeah, it's like 20, 25 minutes of just like kind of faffing around for a big final 7 minutes.
I would much rather have sort of brought Sutek in way earlier, because like what would interest me more as a cliffhanger is like knowing or at least starting to lead towards what Sutek's motives are, which we don't really have any of that. Like, the cliffhanger is Sutek's back, probably going to bring some doom, I suppose, and death. But like how, like sand. I just, we're told the stakes. We don't see the stakes come the cliffhanger. The only slight thing we see is that unit soldier, that Manchester boy that I said Ruby was going to bang, but that never happened.
Now he's dead.
The
Doctor kind of fucked with him. He literally is the reason he's dead. And I know he takes a moment to get sad about it, but Mel's like, you didn't kill him, fucking Sutek did. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. He should take some accountability. That's why he went around the back. He encouraged him to do it. Anyway.
But, like, other than him dying, that Manchester boy, Manchester. You like Manchester?
Manchester.
Other than him dying, there's no stakes other than just the Doctor going like, no, not Sutek. And then fucking Times New Roman font is going Sutek, or Calvary Body, whatever fucking generic font you want to use.
The Harbinger.
I like the Harbinger twist. That like actually surprised me. I was like,
I was just like, whatever.
Harbinger's back.
I kind of give up by now.
Maestro, the god of music.
Great. It was gods. It was gods all along.
Did you feel like for an episode called The Legend of Ruby Sunday about Ruby's history, she didn't have a lot to do?
No, she didn't. I
feel
like she was barely in it.
Yeah, I feel like she was barely in it.
She was kind of...
And she can act well. Like, Millie's an amazing performer. We know that already. And in the scenes, where like her mum was there, like you could see her performances there, but like just in the script, Ruby's just not really doing anything the whole episode.
No, you're so right. I think that I don't really remember any like lines of dialogue, anything that was like well written necessarily. It's a lot to put on a character that we've only known for nearly 6 months, 7 months, you know? And I'm not saying it can't be done because many TV shows, like you look at, I know you haven't seen it, but you look at like a show like True Detective, it's only season 1, it's only like 8 episodes. And the story they tell in that 8 episodes and the characters, they're just incredible. And this is the same length.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, it can be done. Like characters can be done and storylines can be done in 8 episodes and it flow really well.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen Russell do this before with...
Oh, yeah. Most of his best work isn't Doctor Who. Most of his best work is limited series.
I think that's the issue is that like, I think his fear about coming back was like, I've got to come back and like bigger than ever. And I've got to do this and this, and not just that, we'll do that as well, and we'll do this as well, and we'll do that, and we'll do this and do that and do this. And it's like, well, how's it all going to come together? It will, don't worry. And we'll add this and that and that, and then don't worry, it all come together, and people will care. And it's like, I don't know if I do really.
It was one of those things as well. Where there's that many like twists that there, or that many little through lines that have just been repeatedly mentioned throughout. That when it was throughout the episode, they kept like bringing up little different through lines that we've had. And I kept forgetting about the ones that we were addressing 5 minutes ago. And this is someone who has lived and breathed the last 8 weeks on Twitter and has been exploring what this could be. And even I was getting lost in the sauce, you know? That was a lot, man. That was too much for me.
I'm not saying it should have been the Daleks or the Cybermen, but it's like if the Daleks or the Cybermen came back, like general audiences would be like, even if they hadn't watched Doctor Who, they'd be like, oh, I've heard of the Daleks and Cybermen. I hadn't even heard of Sutek.
Yeah,
I watched the show for 19 years.
I'd heard of him, but I've not seen the Pyramids of Mars. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, even you haven't seen it.
No,
it's like I think it's a lot to put on, even just like fans, because. I just don't think that people watching at home who will just like, oh, I'll put on Doctor Who just because it's all right. I don't mind watching it. I just don't think it would grab anyone's attention because I think there's too many going threads. The whole ending is based on a character from what the Sutek's from the 70s.
Yeah, like mid 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a long time ago.
Yep.
I just don't. And I just wasn't shocked. I kept hearing that I was going to be shocked and I wasn't shocked. I think it's sad if the whole Sutek thing did leak. That's unfortunate.
I don't think Sutek was ever leaked. I think it was purely
people
like
just figured
it
it
was
out?
just a rumor. Yeah, people guessed from Sam.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm not.
That in the
I'm not as
trailer
butthurt about that because the thing is like the plot twists and turns. Like with me, I can live without that stuff. Like for me, this episode just and this season as a whole, genuinely, I think has really lacked a big beating heart that Russell's stuff has had in the past. There's been beautiful scenes. Do not get me wrong. There's episodes that I love, but upon the whole, like. I've not been moved by an episode. I was thinking about that this morning. Like this morning I thought as long as I feel some kind of emotion in this episode, I'll be happy. No matter if it surprises me or if it makes stupid decisions. I've not been moved by any of it. And that's why my favorite scene in The Giggle is when the Doctor turns around to Donna and it's like beautiful, like a couple minutes and they're in the maze of hallways and he's like, take away my Sonic, take away the... But what am I? That's beautiful. And I think this series just hasn't had that. But also maybe it's because we've seen Shooty cry every week. And so maybe the emotional the emotional moments don't jump out because he's cried at the drop of a hat every week.
It could have had those scenes, but it felt like it was in such a rush to accomplish almost nothing. Like, it could have had scenes like that, but it always felt like it was trying to move on to the next scene.
I think Russell knew the cliffhanger he wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't think...
How do I get there almost?
Like, I don't think there was enough story before that cliffhanger. Like, so now we have this episode that's just a bit of a limp bloody arm. A limp fish?
Limp penis.
Yeah, a softie.
A flaccid penis.
Yeah, it's a bit of a flaccid dick episode, I think.
That whole time window.
It's all foreplay.
It's all foreplay.
It's all foreplay. It's all
which
like,
is important. But
it's
not the whole.
It's all foreplay,
shebang.
No sex.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
next week is sex.
Like I feel like
sex
I was just getting worked up, and then the credits rolled, and I just went, and I just flopped back down.
Just back down.
Yeah.
I get that. I think the whole time window scene was essentially kind of pointless. Like I know they figured out the whole Sutek thing, but it's like the whole cloud.
Yeah, it spent so long on that as well.
It did.
So long.
It was a lot of build up for essentially like a cloud. But then they went upstairs and did the same thing. They were just scanning the TARDIS, and couldn't they just?
Especially when I'm like sat there the whole time going like, I don't believe this time window bullshit. Like, why does UNIT have a fucking time window? I kind of hate how advanced UNIT is at the moment with the fucking that prick, the Blinks, that prick.
Poor Blinks.
Oh, what's he doing? Get him off.
He's got a chrome.
I hate how they're kind of Avengers-y now. Like the tower is one thing. I can live with the tower, but when the technology starts to get convenient to the plot is when I'm like, this is just a bit soft. This is a bit of a soft penis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they did, whatever. I was just going to defend it. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, don't.
I'm just saying, like, if it was, there's a whole line referencing the fact that they said in the 80s not to do it. If that's a thing, then, but I highly doubt it.
No, probably not.
I highly doubt that.
Because I can't help but just sit and like compare this to other part ones that have had really big cliffhangers.
Bruh.
And I just sit there and think like, they also had so many small moments and they had narratives of their own throughout. Like the Pandorica Opens has like the really cool stuff, like the mystery of Stonehenge, and there's these mysteries of its own that aren't like the whole plot series history. Like I felt this was just like addressing the main plot arcs of the series, and didn't do anything with it until the last 5 minutes. Whereas like you look at the Pandorica Opens and it actually has a story of its own that it has to set up, and then that all connects to the larger plot of the story. Same with I'm trying to think of other finales. Like same with what's the season 1 finale called? Parting of the Ways. Bad Wolf. Yeah. Like that's a story of its own, and then the Bad Wolf gets stuff gets tied into that. I would have much preferred a story that was like Pyramids of Mars sequel story, but maybe you don't know it's Sutek until later on. But let's add some new mysteries. Let's give us some new stuff rather than just feeding us the same wank we've heard for the last 8 weeks until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I think as well, I really could have used, like, you're right, I think it was just so based to the Susan triad building and the unit building. We go to the Sunday household for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Should we talk about that?
Yeah. I'll just say this though, sorry. I just think I really could have used like some scenes in the TARDIS with like high energy. Like there's that scene in the trailer where it's like into the vortex, and you could even feel like the intensity in the trailer.
Yeah,
I would have loved some intensity like that. It's like I would have much preferred there was a way for them to like, we shouldn't go back in time with the TARDIS, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
I felt like that would have been so much more intense.
Instead, it was like, we have a time window.
It's a VHS.
Let's stand on a green screen. Sorry.
I guess I was kind of watching it being like, does this make sense? Or is it just like you said, kind of like, you know, plot armor in a sense? It's like, it's convenience. It's like
the time window.
It's like, yeah, because it's a VHS, we can sort of do more. And I'm like, what?
I don't know, bro.
It doesn't make
I don't know
sense.
Okay, let's go to the Sunday household.
Yeah.
Carla, she heads to unit, which is cool.
Yeah.
But then we have this...
Donna's mentioned real quick. Yeah.
Donna's mentioned. And then we have this, like, just interesting scene.
A cup of tea.
Funny as fuck scene of her. Like, I would like a cup of tea. I thought that was so funny. And then, but then Miss Flood's like, well, we all can't get what we want, dear.
Darkness.
And then it all goes dark. And I was like, okay. All right. And she looked into the camera.
Nothing.
What's going on?
Nothing.
What the fuck has Miss Flood got to do with this shit?
I don't know.
I thought, because I sort of misread the scene at the start a little bit where Carla was saying, oh, if Rose's mum works for unit, then you can tell the doctor that so do I, or something. I was like, oh, wait, Carla's in on unit? Maybe Carla's been employed by unit to look after Ruby around the mystery of Ruby.
Right.
And then Miss Flood was part of that. And I thought that's a great thing. Like, what a great thing to subvert us by not making Miss Flood a villain and have Miss Flood be like a unit spy or something like that.
No, she's evil.
And it's, I just needed something. I don't know. You know what I did enjoy? Just like Chaos Ball, where no one knew what was going on. Like, unit kept getting blindsided. I enjoyed them being pulled from like one thing to another thing. I thought that was quite cool. And I guess that added like a little bit of stakes, like unit not really knowing what was going on.
It kind of just feels like a nothing burger though. Like I feel like this is just going to be super boring to rewatch.
Yeah. All going to be waiting for the last 5 minutes.
But even the last 5 minutes didn't.
You can't even hear
it. Yeah, well, thank God I have subtitles at home.
Yeah, true.
But I don't even feel like the ending really like sent me that much. I mean, if it did for people, like thank God. But I don't know what else. What do I need to do to get sent by this final?
I think I'm just sat here feeling exactly how I felt after Rogue.
Yeah,
where it's because I
enjoyed Rogue so much more.
No, I don't mean in comparison to the episode. I mean in terms of hype for next week.
Right.
Because it's not like giving me anything more.
There's no trailer either, which is fine. I mean, there probably is one out by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, maybe if we'd had a trailer
around there.
Maybe if we'd had a trailer where the doctor was like, we need to go. We need to sell Sutekh. Boom, boom, boom.
You know, it did the...
Yes, that should be continued. That's what I said when the credits rolled. I said classic Russell. To be.
Yeah, but continued. that was at the end of series 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare compare those two episodes.
Do you think...
You are insane if you compare the two.
Asking on behalf of Russell, who has dug this grave himself.
Told you.
Is this finale bigger than The Stolen Earth, as he said it is?
What planet are you living on? I don't understand it. This is literally what I'm not trying to say. I didn't want to be right.
Yeah.
I know people are like, oh yeah. I don't want to be right. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to sit here and eat my words. Believe me if you want to. You probably fucking won't. But I genuinely did want it to work, okay? I wanted it to be bigger than season 4. I was expecting something like maybe even like Martha to rock up and be like,
I was never expecting that.
Hi, Doc. Why not? It's a series final. Get Rose out of there and get Martha in there.
What? So that Martha could then say the 3 lines that Rose said for the whole episode?
No, it would have been done differently. Mel. Yeah, we got Mel, but I don't really have a connection to Mel. I've seen her on like
Yeah, but most of the audience, well, the Disney Plus audience,
episodes actually, probably.
A lot of the Disney Plus audience don't have a connection to Mel either. So that's what it's like cool to see that get set up. I liked Mel in this episode. I did still feel like
I do like Mad Auntie Mel.
I think I wanted more Mel still. There was just too many characters, just too much going on. Morris was cool. I liked. Well, I've been meaning to say this the whole pod. I liked at the start there was that moment, and it was like kind of cheeky, where when it was like Susan Triad is Susan Tardis, and it was all scripted for everyone to be like, yeah, of course. So it was like the audience was like, Russell knows the audience is gonna have figured that out. And so he's like playing with that. But then it's kind of come and punched him back in the face because we also figured out Sue Tech.
Yeah, that's
it's like, now who's the dumbass?
That's like literally my issue with it. I was like watching that scene going, it's a good joke and it's confident if you can pull it off. And it has something for me to... It kind of, do you know what kind of sucks? It's like, I feel like we're sat here, we're reviewing part 1 of a final, and I don't really have anything more to say. No. Because there's nothing that really happens.
Yeah, within a couple of minutes, I kind of got lost on this pod.
It's like, I don't really know what, like, to add. I mean, like, I don't think it stands on its own 2 feet. It's like, even like a part 1.
The damp squid.
It's a damp squid, whatever that means. Yeah, it's a damp squid. Is that a saying?
I think it is. Squid? Something similar to a flaccid penis.
Aha, I see.
Yeah. Do you want to put a rating on it?
Also, I thought the direction was a bit flat.
Yeah, there was a few good shots, but I thought there was also a few like weird shots.
But also, they're just in a building the whole time.
Yeah,
there's
nothing
not really.
You can
do. My rating.
Yeah.
Can you go first?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. I'm gonna give.
I might say 6, or
I'm giving it a 6.
I don't think it deserves a 7.
Oh,
it's just set up.
It's just set up,
and I generally don't think that's gonna change.
It might not.
I don't know.
I definitely enjoyed bits of it. I wasn't sat here going, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life."
I hope that was a soundbite.
But yeah, I just a bit of a nothing burger.
There's something to talk about, really.
I feel like I've gone to Macca's and they've made me a burger and I've bitten into it. And then I've gone, these fuckers, I forgot to put the patty in. Where's the plot?
And am I nuts? Like, I go on Twitter and I see it every week. 10 out of 10. What planet are you living on? Am I nuts? Like, it's okay to criticize a show like that you.
I'm also
watch.
okay with the listeners having enjoyed the episode. But
10 out of 10? That's like a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, no, I know. And
10 out of 10?
I think it's silly.
Do you know how many 10 out of 10s I just saw on Twitter?
Yes, but...
That means it's a masterpiece.
But I'm okay with that. Please just don't fucking come at us in the comments.
They already will.
You can have your opinion, we can have ours.
I'm just not going to look at the comments. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point of being alive?
Okay, guys, get commenting down below, and we will read out your reviews later in the week. No, I'm open to having conversations about the episode and stuff.
I'm not going to.
Let's all just have a bit of a body laugh as we do it. That's what we like to do here. I have a bit of fun. So yeah, get run down below, and we will sort of talk about and walk through your guys' opinions on our preview pod for the finale later in the week. And I hope maybe we can get a trailer soon and we can get a bit more hype because we want to be excited going into this finale. And maybe we will be after a rewatch of the episode. But on Tuesday, we'll sort of have watched it a second time and we will reassess the episode, see if it goes up or down. First watches can be deceiving. God, Connor looks so depressed. He's just staring into nothing. I'm just mad. Don't be mad. It's okay.
I am mad.
Mate, it's just Doctor Who.
Yeah, but
it's bloody Doctor Who.
It could have been so much more. It could have been so much more.
It could have, but it's not. Okay. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Thanks, Ross.
I'll write it next time. How about
that? Yeah. When's Ross leaving? I'm kidding.
There's that life in shoot. I'm going to be around for a long, long time.
I know.
Which means Russell will be too.
I'm teasing. I like that Russell's back. But
do you?
Yes and no, but maybe that's a conversation for a larger podcast.
His semi-final was 6.
Well, I just think like we're not doing anything new.
True.
I just think we'd and Russell's tricks are the same as his old tricks, bloody anagrams and words and shit. Like there's no
the tricks to the king of tricks.
There's no big like plot things. Like at least Flux had like an ongoing interesting story arc. Whereas
you don't want to hear me say that.
What? You enjoy Flux more than this?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Flux had more.
Flux was fun. It was.
Flux had a more exciting ongoing plot than this. This just feels so dragged out.
The Halloween Apocalypse cliffhangers, and I say hangers because I was like fucking I feel like it was trying to go for something like that, but dare I say it, I enjoyed that more.
Yeah, because this shit's just hollow.
Ween Apocalypse.
Folks, we'll see you on Tuesday. Please don't fight us. Tuesday. We record Monday.
Record Monday, but it'll be out on
Tuesday.
Canal Aiden.
Huh?
Canal Aiden.
Well, you're going to confuse the bloody audience, mate. This is the on-air talk.
Canal Aiden. Yeah. All right.
Connor.
All right. Bye, girl.
Bye, guys. Don't yell at us.
Don't yell at me.
I like Doctor Who. And you should too. It's Aiden and Connor's podcast. We're doing Doctor Who reviews
on a Saturday.
Doing Doctor Who reviews.
Please don't kill us in the comments.
Yeah, and I swear, if messages me on Twitter,
have some perspective about the BBC. I love the BBC. They're my boss.
Oh, what a guy.
The BBC are my boss. They're my boss. My friends work there. That little knock.